Hi everyone, welcome, Sema Martin here, and welcome back to my day 4 of my live chats. So this week I'm celebrating the first year anniversary of my book, Art is My Career, How to Start an Art Business. If you haven't got it, you can get it from my website, artismycareer.com, or you can get it out on Amazon Kindle, Etsy, Jackson's Art Supplies, and eBay. So you can find it anywhere, Google it, it will come up. Art is My Career, How to Start an Art Business. It includes everything that you need to start your art business, marketing, how to deal with customers, social media, how to build a website, what good websites what websites are good to use, PR, how to organize yourself, financial ways of getting organized, everything. It covers everything, and I wrote this book based on my 4 years of experience of being a full-time artist, and I just wanted to put everything in one place to help new artists start their art careers and turn their passion into their careers. Yeah, so if you haven't got it, there's loads of places where you can get it, including my website, artismycareer.com, which also contains a lot of resources as well. I'm working on building it as a really valuable website that's full of resources for artists, where they can find information, hopefully about anything. So if you haven't been on my website yet, feel free to go and see if it answers any of the questions that you have at the moment. And if it doesn't, then I'd love to hear from you and what you would like to see on my website. So yesterday, we spoke to Sylvia about time management, how she manages her time between her art business and her family, which was super interesting. If you haven't seen that video, you can see it on my IGTV channel, on this Instagram profile. And today we're going to talk to 2 artists about their art studios, which is always a fun topic because everybody has such a different space and such a different environment to work and create from. So I thought it'd be really fun just to talk to 2 different artists with very different situations and just see what it's like for them. And if you're unable to, watch this live all the way through, then don't worry, it will be saved for later on my IGTV channel, where you can rewatch it back and make notes and anything you like. I will also tag the artists so you can check out their profiles and see them for yourself. So we will join the artists very soon. And also, if you have any questions throughout the live, then feel free to ask them in the comment box, and I'll be happy to answer them, and I'm sure the other artists will be happy to answer them. And yeah, it's like a casual, just ask any questions you like, just a fun chat between artists that we can all just enjoy each other's company, basically. So Alison is now joining us from Alison Illustration.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Alison. It's nice to see you.
Yeah, and you. Nice to speak to you.
Yeah,
Happy
nice to see you.
Anniversary for your book.
Thanks so much. Yeah, big one.
There we go. Yeah, that should be better. Oh, great.
Yeah, so nice to see you face to face. Would you like to start by introducing yourself and talking about what you do?
Of course, yeah. So my name is Alison Chin, and I'm a pet portrait and wildlife artist. So I work primarily in colour pencil, which is really nice. And yeah, I've been doing it since 2020, January last year. I sort of found a gap between jobs, and I just sort of thought, you know what, I want to pick up my pencils again just to see if I can still create something.
Yeah.
And the end result ended up on Facebook because it was a drawing of my partner's mum's dog, and she's heavily involved in crafts and dog training and stuff. So she put it on Facebook, and the response was just oh, I just like nothing else. Hiya. And yeah, so that's where it came from, really. I ended up with a bit of a waiting list from there. I'm still going a year later, which is really good. So
that's brilliant. Yeah, so it just starts with putting yourself out there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, yeah. I think it's a good confidence boost as well when you have, like, from the get-go, people saying, you know what, you should do this, like,
Mm.
full time, like, as
No,
you.
that's really helpful.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, fantastic. So, Ellie,
Hi.
hi. Would you like to introduce yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I'm Ellie Webb. I'm 21, and at the moment, I design tattoo sort of commissions for people. I do a bit of realism, portraiture, just a bit of everything really. Trying to build a tattoo portfolio at the moment. So yeah,
Mhm. Wonderful.
yes.
And what did you guys both do?
Yeah, so okay, so I actually went to university before, and I studied interior design in Cambridge
Mhm.
at Anglia Ruskin. It was a really nice course, and I met lots of really nice people. Um, so I worked in a few interior design studios immediately coming out of uni, which was great. It was a nice experience to sort of get yourself out there, like in an artistic industry, and like work with architects and
Mm.
engineers and like electronics people and carpenters and things like that. Um, I think it wasn't somewhere that I could let my creativity flow as much as I do now, because it's really
Okay.
tailored to how the client sort of wants the space to look. And if you're working with a studio, then usually it's like your manager's decision is like, this is how it's going to be. And like as a junior,
Yeah.
you don't have that much room for like input and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's what I did before.
Do you find that your
So
degree helped you at all? Sorry, Ellie.
no, that's fine.
um,
No, it's
I was just going to ask,
It
do
does.
you find that your degrees helped you at all?
It does and it doesn't. Yeah, it's really good in terms of like speaking to clients. So coming out of university, it was very like originally it was really studio based. You do your work on your own little table in your own like little bubble. But actually going into a studio, like it really pushes you out there to have conversations with clients and like
Mm.
help you to form relationships with people on an industry sort of level as well, to make sure that
Mhm.
you're getting something out there as an end result for what the client wants. Um, so yeah, in that respect, like it's really helped me there to be able to just sort of speak to people that I don't know.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so Ellie, yeah, what do you do before?
So I still do. I do a level 3 business administration course, an apprenticeship,
Oh, wonderful.
which sort of I think has helped a little bit, especially with like because obviously my business is like social media based. I do a lot
Hmm.
of targeting customers and sort of really focusing on your brand in my course. So I feel as though that has helped me understand better, sort of starting
Yeah.
because I started it up as like a bit of a hobby really. Just people said like, oh,
Hmm.
like you should post your art. So I was like, oh, might as well. But then it was only when I started to learn about that sort of side of it, like the business side, that I was like, oh, like maybe if I apply this to it, it might work, and it seems to be sort of helping at the moment, especially. Um, so yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, so you've got like I guess a living example that you can practice your knowledge on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's how, like I said, because obviously, like before, I didn't really know much about how to target customers and like building a brand, but all of this is
Mm.
focused like in my course, so it's really helped sort of apply it. And because it's a business administration, it's very sort of well, it's usual business, not really like creative. So it's quite nice to see that I can apply it to a creative industry because I am a creative
Mhm.
person. Um,
Yeah,
so it's definitely helped.
brilliant. Well,
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so where do you guys currently work? As this is about artist studios. So Alison, do you want to go first and talk about your studio space?
Yeah, of course. So I currently I work from home
Mhm.
and in my second bedroom, I suppose you could call it. So last year, sort of June sort of time, we originally lived in a studio flat in the middle of Cambridge, and this was literally just like one room with a corridor kitchen, like a little bathroom, like round in the corner.
Yeah.
And we had like a little sofa or like a tiny fold-out dining table in the corner where I just bend over and work from that. So we
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I think that's where like lots of people begin to start out, right, on a tiny little
Yeah.
yeah, so we moved here in sort of June, July last year. Specifically, it had a second bedroom, so I was like, okay, this is where I want to sort of let everything happen and build up kind of like a studio space. So it's like a second bedroom slash studio slash gaming room for my partner, slash sort of office space. So I wonder if I can turn the camera around and literally just do like a 360.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there we go. So if I'm currently sat on my little sofa, I have my PC sort of like directly in front of me and my little art drawers like underneath where I have all my pencils. I have the best stool from IKEA, which is where I sort of put my work on an MDF board and I just work from there. And I've got like some drawers and like a taller cupboard unit where I can put all of my like glass pieces and stuff. And then that's my easel, and I put like a gooseneck phone holder on the top, and that's how I do all my photographs and my video editing and stuff. Like behind the scenes, it's like as bodged it as like you can get, really, just by but most of the room is taken up by this massive gaming chair that belongs to my partner. And then I keep all my pencils,
you have to be comfortable,
like, over in the corner. Oh, exactly, yeah. I do tend to nick it sometimes as well, like throughout the day. I'm like, oh, just take a bit of a break from the sofa, sit on the really expensive gaming chair in the corner. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. It's a really small little room, but I make do with what
it's a wonderful space. It's really good. Yeah,
it has been tidied up a little bit, like just for this video. Normally there's like stuff everywhere and you have to dance around the floor space.
That's just how it is though, isn't it? The life of an artist, like it's only tidy just before you start doing something, and then as soon as you start, it's like there's a bit of bomb exploded.
I also feel like if you have like a space, it doesn't matter how big your space is, you're just gonna fill it with stuff. Like that's just what it's gonna end up looking like at the end.
Oh, definitely. Like I've had so many studio spaces over the last few years because I've moved like basically every year the last 4 years. And yeah, I started in a tiny studio as well, and I literally just had like a glass coffee table and a sofa. And that's how I started. Like, you don't need a lot to actually start. You just have to start. And then I managed to like upgrade to like a whole attic room and had the whole like upstairs for my studio with like separate tables, so you can have the office space and then like the drawing space and then the packing space. That was amazing. But now that we've moved to France and we're back in a small apartment, I've just got like a little corner again, so it was really hard like going backwards, but it's quite nice as well, yeah, because then you sort of like really do make the most of the space. Yeah. What about you, Ellie? Like, what's your setup?
So I'm sat in my room at the moment, I'm not gonna lie. But, my actual sort of art studio, again, last year we had a summer house in my garden and nobody really used it. The odd person would sort of sit in there. But when I was during lockdown, I really sort of thought like, yeah, like I want to focus on my art, and tattooing especially had always been a sort of aspiration of mine, and I thought maybe this is the time to sort of focus on it. And I remember saying to my mum at the time, like, I really want, like, I would love just a space that I can draw, because again, I would always sit at the coffee table or just on my lap like scribbling, but then we turned the summer house in my garden into my own little studio space. So again, it's not very
wonderful,
but there's a desk in there, set of drawers, and enough space for me to sort of do my thing. And we decorated it with it's all like bunting and whatnot around, so it's really like my little creative space. And in the summer especially, it's really nice because it's in the middle of my garden, and we've got loads of like flower beds, and especially because like nature especially, and I take a lot of my inspiration from nature. It's really nice to just sort of, I can get in there and it is like my own little bubble. I sort of just lock the world out, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's
But,
really
Oh,
important.
that's fantastic.
at the,
It sounds like a dream.
at the moment, well, the weather in Wales is not that great at the minute, so
Mm.
it is cold in there. So at the moment, I'm doing a lot of digital work, which is really unusual for me because, like, I started pencil and paper, but
Mhm.
especially with tattoo design, a lot of tattoo artists and all use digital art to show their designs.
Mhm.
So I've had to kind of adapt to that sort of style. So now I
Mhm.
can sit anywhere with my iPad and my pen,
Oh,
and I'm
really useful.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to be fair in that aspect. But I do love pencil and paper. I have to be fair.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think we're all big fans of pencil and paper
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So in terms of when you both started out, like what was like, I guess the first equipment you had to hand to sort of start your art businesses?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ellie, if you know first, like go for it while I'll have a think.
I mean, well, I think the piece, whenever I think of sort of my business, I always think of the one piece that everyone kind of noticed and said, like, you should be doing this.
Mhm.
I drew, I'm a massive fan of horror films, and
Mhm.
the new It had just come out, and I love Pennywise and everything like that. So I drew a A3 portrait of Pennywise, just pencil, black and grey, and like people had known throughout school I did portraiture in all of my art lessons. Like that's just what I did, and I drew this picture, and everyone sort of then noticed, and they were like, "Why aren't you doing this?" Like, and so yeah, then I would literally just sit with a big A3 pad, a pencil, and I'd
Mm.
just draw different portraits. I'd usually have either a reference on my iPad or a printed out reference, and then I'd be away then. So
Yeah.
it's pretty simple, but
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, it just shows how simply you can start. Because some
yeah,
people, I guess, use equipment as an excuse to not get going.
yeah,
And really, you don't need the best things or the most things or like the most expensive paper or pencils. You really don't need any of that. You just need, a surface
yeah,
and something to make your mark. And that's literally it. Because like even I started with just that small pack of Derwent drawing pencils, they're
yeah,
called, and it had like the fox on the front.
yeah,
That's all I had. I had that with an A3 pad,
yeah,
and that's literally how I started my pet portrait business.
yeah,
And that's all I had for, I think, about 4 months.
yeah,
And then I realized, oh, there are other colors in the world. There are other brands. I should probably buy some other ones rather than using like, these pencils like this small now. Like, I can probably like branch out and buy some more pencils. But like, that's all I used for months.
At least you were getting your money's worth out of the pencils, like getting
yeah.
them down to
Yeah, definitely. No, big fan of that. Like pencil extenders are the best because
oh,
then you can
yeah,
just
I've saved.
put them on your pencil and just keep using them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got four,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking I really should just buy more because I've got so many little
Yeah.
stubs now. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Just keep buying them. I started filling a glass jar with all like the really tiny ones because trying to make some. Yeah, I think everybody does this. Just
It's
like
the
all the
little.
little tiny ends. Yeah, because you
And then
just
from
can't
there, that's
sharpen it anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I just think maybe I'll just get to the point where have you seen it's a bit like a pencil extender, but if you've got lots of nibs of like the same colour all of the
Yeah.
there's something that it like drills a hole in the bottom of one end so that you can like piece them together and make a brand new pencil again. And I can't
Oh
remember what
wow.
for it, but like I'm just gonna have to like see if I come across
That
that.
sounds fantastic because most of mine are white. Like it's always the white that
Yeah.
goes. Like I have so many whites and blacks. Like they're the most the two most common colours that are like this small. And I can't use anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
So
think
Alison, like, how did you start out then?
yeah, pretty much the same as you guys, I think. So I had a pad of old paper that was sort of lying in the drawer, endless pencil cases of pencils and pens and paintbrushes and whatnot, like all the stuff that you just gather over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started out, so my first drawing, which was a border collie, so my partner's mum's dog. sat down with like the WH Smiths, the Spectrum Stains ones, worked through the black pencils there, and then I just sort of decided, you know what, I'm going to spend a little bit of extra money and just go on like Jackson's Art and get a few single pencils. Like I didn't buy the set because they're just really expensive, like in one go. So I got a few just sort of to begin with, and then I just every now and again I might buy a new one just to sort of branch out my collection. But in terms of like equipment, I guess, probably like this gooseneck phone holder. So this thing that I have at the top of here, it was only like £16 from Amazon, super cheap, but it just means that any photographs I take of my work now, it's proper, like still, I can take it in proper natural daylight, and they just look so much more professional. And for like £16, it's such like a cheap thing that really helps to sort of boost your business in terms of like the visuals when you're putting it on your website and your Instagram, all of that. So yeah, I'd say that was
that's brilliant. And I guess you can use it for recording and things as well, can't you?
I do, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do. So I've sort of like, it's a bit of a balancing act because I've got my easel sort of placed, the 3 legs splayed out across the carpet, and I've got this gooseneck phone holder over here, and then I've got my ring light as well on like the left side, and I'm sitting here with like a blanket on, and then I've got the stool like in front of me. So if I ever need to like charge my phone or charge the tablet that I'm using, I'm like, oh no, I have to like do a bit of a limbo to get around all these legs that are lying around all over the room just to get to the plug in the corner.
It's so funny because I feel exactly the same. Like, because now that I try and record everything I do, because social media wants videos and then clients want videos, okay, I'll do videos. So I've got like my phone trying to, like, do that portrait view for Instagram and Reels and all that kind of stuff. And then I've got the other camera trying to do like high quality. And then it's all like, because it has to be, in a place where it can see you draw, but you need to see the drawing. So it's sort of like trying to replace your eyes, but then I keep smashing my head against stuff. Like, you guys do that? Like, you keep like bumping into the camera or bumping into the light. Like, I got a daylight lamp, and then I've got like another ring light, and it's just, it all feels like a bit like they're trying to draw like this.
You've got about this much space to like peek through and like get under, and if you knock the camera off, it's filming, you're like, oh, I'll just edit that bit out.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's the artist struggle. Like, I know that Bonnie Snowden has like some sort of tall thing hanging from the ceiling to help her, so you don't have all the leg stands. So I got one of those like Manfrotto camera arms.
Oh yeah.
They're like huge metal camera arms. They're about 50 quid, so it's a bit expensive, but they're so strong. Like, they can carry anything. I think like the heaviest camera, especially like your high quality cameras, you want it to make sure it's not going to fall off. So I actually use one of those now. So at least, I only have one tripod leg thing that's in the way rather than like 2 or 3 now. So, the arm things are really good. I would advise anybody trying to film your work and things like that to get the arm thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good recommendation, actually. I've got a bit of a struggle at the moment where I'm doing my time-lapse videos. If I've got my phone going and I've got my tablet going, and one of them runs out of battery or something. But normally the biggest one for me is storage space on my iPhone. So a video, if you're taking it on an iPhone, like, it just takes up so much space. I'll get half an hour in, and of course with colour pencil, like, you can spend hours and hours on these drawings. Half an hour in, the phone goes, you've run out of storage now, so we're just going to have to stop filming. And then I put this video in order to time lapse it. So do you work from like a bigger camera and you have that on your
Yeah, I use my Canon camera, but again, the same thing with storage. Like, it fills up with storage, so I sort of use the breaks of transferring the files to my computer, like as a break from drawing, I guess. Otherwise, I'd never stop. Like, it's just so hard to stop, especially when you're in the zone. But I guess it's every half an hour it does fill up. So you do have to transfer it to your computer. And now I've had an issue because I've been doing this for so long now. My computer's full. So I had to get an external hard drive to then transfer everything to external hard drive so I can actually transfer things to the computer. And it's just like, oh no, because you want to keep everything. Like, you don't want to delete your work. You just spend years accumulating all those pictures and those videos and all that proof of doing your career. They're like, I can't get rid of any of it, so I just keep buying external hard drives and just keep transferring everything.
You have a stack up of all these external hard
Yeah.
drives, just open the cupboard and like they just all pile out. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ellie? Do you have these filming issues?
Well, I think I only ever did, I think maybe one. Well, last year I sort of delved into the world of TikTok like everyone else did during lockdown. And I created an art account on there and everyone was like, do time lapses. And I don't have, I am actually going to like invest in like a little phone tripod or something because I would have my phone here and I'd have to film like little, just like the tiniest shade and then swap and like do something else to make up this tiny little
Yeah.
TikTok. But in terms of storage, the phone storage is an issue because obviously I don't want to especially with my digital art, I don't want to just screenshot it and then post it to Instagram. Like you'll notice in a lot of my photos, I'm either holding my iPad and there'll be some sort of leaf or something in the corner because I just think it makes it look so much better. So I've got pictures on my phone of my iPad with pictures on. So like there's just so many photos, but again, I don't want to delete them because
Yeah.
well, it's just what I do. Do you know what I mean? So I want to keep it all.
Yeah.
But it is difficult finding the storage for everything all the time.
Yeah. Can you record on your iPad, like when you're creating digital drawings? Can you record it? Like, I guess.
I feel
like
so
screen record.
okay.
Hmm.
I'm not the most, like I said, I'm so much better with, you know, pencils, colored pencils. That digital is
Yeah.
very new for me. So I'm still sort of learning. Like everybody says to get Procreate.
Okay.
But because I was just starting out with digital, I didn't want to pay for Procreate if I didn't get along with it. So I saw a tattoo artist using Infinity Painter, which is basically like a free version. And they recommended that. So I've been using that and it does everything that I need at this sort of level. So I'm quite happy with that. But there's no sort of record feature or anything on there. But I'm definitely going to look at doing time lapses because a lot of my followers have said that that's what they want. I think the last time I did a time lapse was probably GCSE in school when I did this massive painting, and I literally sat my iPad on the floor, put time lapse on, and just cracked on with it basically. But that was it. That was the only time. Never.
Yeah.
So
No, I do find that people do like to see, you know, an artwork's created from start to finish. They want to see the blank page and then they want to see a finished artwork. And I feel like that's probably one of the most watched things.
yeah.
Oh, someone's asked a question. Do you prefer working in a home studio or having somewhere away from the house? So I guess might be to you, Ellie.
Well, I mean, I like working in my actual house. I mean, my studio is literally like 5 steps away from my house. But sometimes it is nice, like I said, especially because it is like a summer house, rather than being like a room. It is like just an individual space, so it is quite nice to have that little bubble. But then sometimes you can't beat home comforts, like when you're sitting just, well, even at night sometimes if I've got this idea, I'll sit up in bed and just do it on my iPad then quickly. So it's always nice to sort of dabble. I find like different moods that I'm in will determine whether I want to maybe go outside and work or if I want to stay in and just do a little drawing. Then, like you said, you don't need all of these supplies to create something. Sometimes it is just simply picking up a piece of paper, a pencil, and just letting sort of your imagination go, really.
Yeah.
So,
oh, wonderful. Really nice. What about you, Alison? How do you find, I guess, from going from a studio apartment to now having a separate room for your art? Do you feel like it's a bit more like, I don't know, going to the office kind of thing?
It's much better. It still feels like home. It's very much like, as Ali said, like you still got your home comfort. So it being like a second bedroom / gaming room / whatever it is, also means that when my partner comes home from work, like it does become a bit of a shared space as well. So there's like two of us sitting in here. But having the separate space, even at home, like having a separate office, means that I can just concentrate all of my work in here. If I take a break, I go outside the room so that it's kind of separate, like from that mentally wise. But yeah, I think it's really important to sort of take breaks as well, like especially when you work from home, because that work life thing, it can just sort of integrate itself a bit and become a bit like a big mash. Like it's difficult to stop working. Like a lot of the time, this is a big problem that I have. It can get to 8 o'clock in the evening, 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm still working, and Jack would just look at me and just be like, you just need to stop now, like have like a 9 to 5 or something, to have some hours, have like
come hang out with me now. I'm bored.
It's been so bad. I have sent a few emails at like midnight or 1 in the morning, and I'm like, no, this is probably just looking actually a little bit more unprofessional than anything. Like when they're looking at the email, like, why is she staying up till like this late, just sending emails? Yeah.
Well, when you're passionate about what you do, like you just want to keep working. Like it's not hard to keep working. It's actually hard to stop working. So I completely understand.
It's just more enjoyable, and in some ways it almost doesn't feel like work sometimes, because you're so in the zone and like you're so busy, you know, doing what you're doing. You just find it really enjoyable. The only things I find that are really stressful for me is like if I know that I need to get something done by like a certain date. So if I'm waiting for somebody to put in like a deposit so that I can start a commission, or if I'm waiting for somebody to choose a frame so I can put the order in, you know, that sort of thing. But I do have a bit of a habit of giving myself like too much work to do. So I'll open up my diary and I've got like all these stickers and be like, oh, here's the 8 tasks that I need to finish today. And then I'll cross off like 2 because I only have time to get 2 of them done. And then I'll cross them out and write them on the next day, and it just goes like that throughout the whole thing. And so I can keep a diary actually. So what I ended up doing was just buying all these stickers from this really lovely person on Etsy. So I have like these little heart-shaped stickers where there's like 3 little hearts in the middle, which means that I can have 3 tasks a day, and I colour in the hearts for each task that I complete. But rather than overloading myself with so much work, it allows me to sort of spread it out across the week, because then I'm not trying to fit like all these different tasks into just one day. That I have to spread it out. So
no, that's a good idea.
Work,
because running a business, you know, is a full-time job with a never-ending task list, and you can't expect to do it on all in one day. Like, you know, God knows I've tried, but you really can't. So you've got to split it, especially like I like to prioritize my list. So like, you know, what is the priority for today, and then what's the secondary priority, and then also what would I like to get done, because you don't want to like keep feeling like you've got, I guess, tasks and work to do all the time. You still want to have fun with it, because the point of starting it is because it was fun. So I do like try and do like an abstract painting in the morning, or just something really different that's just fun and free, and doesn't, you know, it's not for a client, it's not for anything, it's just for me. And I do try and do that a lot more now. Like I didn't do that before, but it's made a lot of difference to, I guess, my mentality when it comes to my art business, because you can get so sucked into it, especially like, because I'm 5 years down the line now, you can just get so sucked into it feeling like a job. But really it's just your life. So you want it to feel more enjoyable as your life rather than a job that sort of never ends. So yeah, it's really important to have that balance, I think.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Let's talk storage. I love art storage. Like art supply storage is my favorite thing in the whole world. So let's talk about it.
So I bought.
So Ellie.
Yeah, go for it.
Or Alison.
Or us.
Alison,
you can go from.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I bought the the art pencil storage, the drawers that you have, Seema. This was like the thing that I was looking at. It was one of the first things that I bought as like a piece of storage equipment, like for my stuff, because you just end up with like I've got all these plant pots, and this is just where I put all like my color pencils and things when they're in their pots. But I think it's nice to sort of have things like stored away. So yeah, this drawer storage unit is literally a lifesaver, and this is where I put absolutely everything now. But of course they're so expensive online. In the beginning I was like, oh my god, like this is so much money for just like some wooden drawers. I was like, oh, can I make them myself? But I'm like not that handy like at all to make those. So that's like the best thing for me in terms of like storing all my pencils. I'm a little bit OCD with it, so the way that the colors are laid out on like Jackson's art website, I have them in the exact same order in the drawer.
Do you?
And I've actually printed out little labels, so I'm like, oh, I know where this one goes and like where that one goes.
Yeah.
So when I've got like pencils missing, I can just read the little label I've got and I go, oh, I need to order that one. So I know which
It's a really organized idea. I should do that.
It's nice when you're not using the pencils in that drawer. So if I'm doing like a new commission, I'll take all the pencils out of the drawers that I need, and they'll go in like a little plant pot. So this is kind of like what I just store them in for like my one commission. And then when I finish with the commission, I just put them all back in like the same place. So I'm always using like the same pencils coming in and out, which is quite nice. But yeah, I'm a bit OCD with the storage. I just like to have everything sort of like tucked away so that at the end of the day I can give it a bit of a clean up. It's not always like 100%. And then start so fresh. So that's that's always good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the pencil drawers too. Like, yeah, because the first ones I got were from America, because I could only find them on eBay coming from America.
Oh.
I just couldn't find them anywhere else at the time. This was 4 years ago now. So, you know, that now I think Jackson's Art Supply sells them, and I found a shop here in France that sells them for only 20 euros. So I literally went there and I was like, yes, please, I'll buy some more. Yeah, I was like, all the drawers. Yeah, so now I feel like they're more everywhere because people needed them, and maybe because of the pandemic and more people started drawing again, I feel like they did become like an immediate need for people to have these pencil drawers because they're just so perfect for pencils. And they were called pastel drawers when I found them. So I think that's why it was so hard to find, because they're called pastel drawers rather than pencil drawers.
Oh.
But they're perfect for pencils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're really good as well, because lots of people, they have them like stacked, don't they? Like you could just have a whole...
Yeah, I've got mine stacked like all the way out. Yeah, what about you, Ellie? What are your storage solutions?
Oh, I don't know really. I have good old handy, pencil pot. Again, if I'm working on a particular, especially with my sort of physical drawing rather than digital, I'll always keep out like the colours that I'm using, because I know that if I put them back, I will definitely pick out a different colour, a different shade, and then that's it. Then it's game over. So I like to keep them sort of like just to the side, so I know that they're there all of the time. And then I've got in my little studio, I've got a set of drawers that's just, again, full of different supplies. I think the one's full of like paints, and then the other ones might be full of like pastels. And then my desk has actually got like shelves in it, which are really handy when you've got like different sketchbooks and all sorts, because I do have a sketchbook issue. I've just got too many.
So does everyone.
I can never have too many, so they're just there all of the time. So it's good though, because I can pick out, like if I'm painting, I can pick out my painting sketchbook, and it's all sort of to hand in a sort of close area.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah, like I like to keep out my pencils as well when I'm doing a commission. And I actually found it's called a paintbrush dryer or something. Like it's a wooden thing with those little holes in it, and normally you slot your wet paintbrushes in it. But I think it's perfect for pencils, because you always get that thing, you put it on the table and it rolls off and breaks constantly. Always happening. Like I had this, my first solution was a tray. So I had like a normal tray that I put the pencils in, and then it didn't roll everywhere. But now that I've got this like paintbrush holder thing, it's fantastic. And then I've got all my pencils in a row, and it's just so much easier to pick them out the right color. So yeah, I'd suggest getting one of those if you want one.
I definitely still need to get one of those. Like my solution is
Yeah.
either like I've just got a handful of pencils in one hand, I might have a couple in the other, and like ponytails are great for just shoving the odd piece, right?
Then you forget which colour's there.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, or you get to the point where you got so many in your left hand that they just start falling out, and you're like, no, wait.
Just hug them to
Yeah.
your chest, yeah.
Just trying to hold all of them in one hand. Yeah, it's very difficult. There's no one else understands apart from a colour pencil artist. Try to hold all your colours.
It's a very niche thing, isn't it? Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But there's also like, the storage like outside of the pencils as well, because I think when you really like start getting into like the business, you end up hoarding like all this like packaging stuff or like branding stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like finding places to put that in as well. So if like,
so what do you do for that then?
So if you've got the space and the storage for it, this is where like when we moved in, I was like, hey, this is what I want to get for this room. IKEA are great for their like furniture sort of piece together solution. So we've got one of the short sort of chest of drawer units, and then we've got a cabinet on the other side, and we've just put a long worktop over the top to sort of like create a desk out of this. And the drawers, I just have like all my tapes and stuff in the first one, and then I've got like all my sheets of A4-ish sized paper in like the next one, and I've got like some electronic items, and like the list just goes on. Like I can organize it through with all these drawers, which is really good. I often do a lot of my commissions framed as well, so I have like a local framer and a local glazer, but the glazer is you have to order like a certain amount to get the free delivery, otherwise they charge you like a lot of extra money on top. So I like to sort of, it's not really a hoard, but it looks a bit like a hoard of like glass sheets just sort of hanging around everywhere. And they go like in a much larger cupboard unit. So all of this is probably like just under £200, which sounds it's a lot of money, but like for the furniture that you get for it at the end of it, it's such a lifesaver to just be able to have somewhere to put everything. And because the glass is so expensive as well, it's nice to know that it's actually tucked away somewhere safe where you're not going to like step on it, or someone's going to open a door and like smash it against the wall or something, you know. But for everything that's like bigger than that, where I have like sleeves or bits of tissue paper or anything like that, I just stick it under the sofa that I'm sitting on, because it's raised up a bit, so I know that it's flat underneath and I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ellie? How do you store your packaging and other supplies?
Well, I think with the drawers, I kind of just place everything like stacked neatly on each other, and then in the actual shelves, I've got little like storage boxes then, I suppose, but they're open top ones, so I can just sort of go in and grab what I need, especially with the packs of pencils, that they might be a pack of charcoal pencils or coloured pencils or whatnot. I like to keep them in the packs, and then I just sort of either stand them up along each other so they're like neat, and I can easily just sort of slide it in and out, or just stack them on top of each other. But I find like storage boxes and anything like that is great.
Yeah.
You can't have enough. So
yeah, really good for small spaces, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Somebody asked the question, do you listen to music while you work in your studio?
Yes, all the time.
All the time. Yeah. If it's not music, it's Netflix, or I actually watch gaming streamers as well. Just because it's nice to have somebody else talking in the background, like even if you're not necessarily visually paying attention, like the noise, I just can't stand a quiet house. Like I need something going on to keep me like entertained while I'm doing it. And actually I video call quite a few people as well, so if I'm not in a particularly arty mood where I'm like, I know I have to sit down and do a drawing, I'll call somebody and we'll like do a live draw together, or you know, we'll both work together. So it's like there's a bit of accountability, I think, as well when you're actually video calling somebody else, because you're like, okay, I know I have to get down and do this work now because they're watching me and they know whether or not I'm slacking off.
That's a really good idea. Someone else has asked, do you factor framing into your cost?
Yes, so I do offer framing as kind of like a separate thing. So my commissions will always be based on, the price will always be based on the actual paper itself, and the size. And when I do the framing, I sort of offer it as an extra option. So if they would like to do the framing, I'll get them a cost for the frame, and I'll get them a cost for glazing, and then I just add 10% on the top just for my time to actually go and source the frame and the glazing in the first place. And I sort of give them a quote based on what frame they choose, and then they pay for that separately on the invoice as well. So when I list out the invoice, I've got the commission cost, and then I list it as like extra works like framing and glazing, and then I do shipping at the bottom as well. So it's entirely sort of like up to them whether they go for it, and cost changes depending on the type of frame they choose, because oiled ones can be more expensive, or like the bigger the frame, then the cost goes up. So yeah, I do charge.
Oh, that's really good. And Ellie, like, because yours is mostly digital, how do you send that to the client? Like, do you print it or send them the file, or?
Again, sort of different people ask for different things. So I've had people, especially with my sort of silhouette people drawings, I've had people commission me to draw them, and then they want to frame them. So I say, I can send you the file in an email if like you want to print it yourself, or I can post it, that's no problem. So I've done both really. I've had people that say just send it in a DM, and I will sort of sort it all from there. And then other people I've posted to just because they've said like I want you to post it. So it's easy really. And then for my sort of clothing designs and the brand deals that I'm working on, all of that is through sort of email. So I just email over the design, and then they sort of do the sort of clothing aspect of it then, and put the actual drawing onto clothing. So yeah, it's all
do they ship it out for you, so you don't have to worry about that part?
Yeah, so clothing was never sort of on the agenda, but then I started this account, and I got brands coming to me saying like, will you design for us? And I was like, oh, like, okay. So basically I design, and then I say like, I'm doing 3 different like working with 3 different companies at the moment, and each of them sort of offer different things. So I just design whatever I want, and then I can say like, oh, I want it put on like a black t-shirt, for example. So I just email over the design, say what like product I want it on, and then they will sort all of the printing, put it up on the website, and then ship it. And it's sort of that size down to them, and I'm purely sort of designing. And then the one company is, I suppose, sort of like sponsoring me. They do it with a few other artists, but have like your own little page on their website, and then you design, but it's sort of your like clothing line, for example. Whereas the other brands I'm working with, it's a collaboration. So they might say, I've got this idea in my head, can you draw this up for me? Whereas the other one is very much whatever I want to do, whatever I want to see on clothing, I design and say, like, can you put this on like my website? And then it's a website within their websites, which is quite good. So yeah.
So do you like to license the image to them, or do you get like a percentage of every sale they make?
Again, it's different. So with the one I had the option, either they pay for the design outright, and then they like own it, or I collaborate with it, and then I get a percentage of the sales. So I'm doing that with all of them, I think. Where the one is a charity based thing, so a percentage goes to charity, percentage goes to the actual company, and then percentage goes to me. But then the other ones, it's based on sales, and then I just get a small percentage from that, really. But it's not really, at the moment anyway, it's not sort of the money side of it. It's more getting the name out there and people
Yeah, definitely.
which is really good. So yeah.
No, that's wonderful. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, we are sort of running out of time, but I went slightly over, but it's just because I like talking to you guys. It's really fun. So I hope you don't mind if I just keep you slightly longer. Great. So I wanted to ask about what's the equipment you got that's made the biggest difference to the way you create your work, and what piece of equipment have you got that just didn't agree with you and you haven't really liked it, kind of thing.
So I have a drawing board that I use for all my architectural drawings back from when I was at uni. This is like one of those big, massive A1 sort of size drawing boards. You know, you can prop it up to whatever angle you want. You've got the sliding tool that goes up and down. Like expensive piece of kit that I got from the university shop based on like a credit that they gave me. So it was like a really good piece of kit that I essentially got for free, which is really good. And I don't have anywhere space to put it. Like there's no desk space left in the house or in the apartment that I can use. So it's like happily propped up against this wall, just waiting for the day that I can move into a bigger place that I can actually use it, because that would be resolving all of my back issues when I'm like hunched over doing my drawing.
Yeah.
So it's a great piece of kit, but it's not necessarily one that I can use like at this moment, which is a bit of a downer, because it would resolve a lot of the issues that I have like with my shoulder and stuff as well at the moment. Yeah, but the best piece of kit, I keep going back to this gooseneck phone holder thing. I'm gonna have to like pick something else, but it was really good.
Yeah.
But something else that was really, really important, I guess, like, can I go really small, like small pieces?
Yeah, anything.
So this little brush was really good.
Yes, I'm a big fan too.
They're brilliant. I saw Zoe Fitchett using it like in her little videos, but this was a big problem that I had with like pencil dust. It was always smudging the edge of the paper. It was making everything look really dirty. Of course, I work flat as well, so it's not like it all just falls off like really naturally when you've got it upright. But this thing is, it's like Faber-Castell's like brush, and you can brush away all the pigment, and it's brilliant. And yeah, I love it. My paper has never been so clean.
Yeah. No, I love it too. I think it's called the Faber-Castell dusting brush.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it too. Brilliant purchase.
I was also brought into buying a ring light, so like one of the circular shapes. This is what you're on now, actually, like with the little thing.
Yeah, this is what you guys are on too. Everyone just does a ring light now.
Yeah, someone said to me, yeah, you should definitely like get one, because they're really good for especially like at winter as well, when you're trying to draw, and it's really good to draw like with your natural daylight so that you get your colors like correct. And yeah, they just said, yeah, just get one, because they're not that much of an investment, maybe like £15 to £30 depending on which one you get from like Amazon or somewhere else. Yeah, and it just means that you can draw like much later on into like the evening and change like the settings on it and all. And also they're great for video filming, and all of your photos as well, to make sure it just brightens you up a little bit, which is really good.
Yeah.
So,
and because they're LED, they don't overheat. Like I did try and use those box photography lights to draw, but you're literally drawing for like sometimes 4 to 6 hours at a time, and you are hot. Like they get hot.
They really do. Actually, that reminds me, I don't necessarily have a box light or like a light box, but you know, when you go into an office and in the ceiling, they have the big square ceiling tiles that are lights. So I own one of those. And I had an electrician sort of like change the wiring so that it just plugs into the mains now, and that just is my light box. So I just sit with a ceiling light on my lap, like when I go to do my drawings. And this is stored like under the sofa as well, because there's just nowhere else for it to go.
Yeah.
The cable is like this short, so I have to like have the extension cable like trailing all the way across the floor just to plug it in. But going to the question you asked before about which was the best piece of kit you had like in the beginning, it's up there. Like it's really good.
Yeah. No, that's really good. It's a very good makeshift light box. I actually had one as well, like the big light bulbs you use for photography lighting.
Yeah.
I taped it underneath my glass coffee table and then that's how I traced until I could afford
That's brilliant.
one of those like really thin light box things that I have now. Like that's on Amazon. That's not really that expensive, but I couldn't afford it when I started. Yeah, I literally just it's essentially putting a light bulb or a lamp under a glass table. Voila.
Done. That's all you need. You're sorted.
It's the same job. Yeah.
My dog is. Oh,
hello.
Oh, hello.
We're always welcome here.
Yeah.
he's like, oh God, do go. No, I do apologise. He was an unexpected guest.
He's probably thinking you're talking for too long now.
Do go.
He wants his dinner.
He just likes being the centre of attention, honestly.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. Well, Dougal, what's your favourite equipment like?
He's staring. Oh no, Doug. Oh, no. He's ruining it. He's ruining the setup.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you guys spend like quite a lot of money on new equipment like each month? Do you have like a set budget that you set aside for purchasing new things, or is it sort of just come as and when you decide that you need something new?
I very rarely, because obviously it's not my sort of full-time job. It's just at the moment it still is sort of partly hobby, and I do have, because obviously I did art throughout school, so I still have loads of supplies, pencils, everything that I need to do what I do at the moment, and especially with the tattoo side of things, like I said, a lot of it is digital at the moment, so really I literally just need my iPad and the pen that I use, which is probably from your question before, Seema, about sort of your best item. That's a lifesaver, because before I just used my finger on the iPad screen, and it was getting nowhere. It's not like an Apple Pencil or anything. It's I think it's like a cyber forensics one, but I got given it by someone that I work with, and it's literally been the best thing to ever come into my life. I can use it for anything digital now, and it is so easier, and it's so much more like using a pencil and paper, which I think with your finger gets a bit difficult because it's not something. But no, in terms of buying stuff, at the moment especially, I don't tend to sort of buy anything. I don't really need anything, so I'm pretty good.
That's a good situation to be in.
Yes.
Yeah. They say like I guess when I first started out, I just bought things that I needed when I had the money for it, you know. But now I've basically got everything that I need. All I really buy is just replenishing my stock of pencils or mounts or boxes, like all that kind of stuff that you continuously need to buy. But in terms of equipment, I sort of just saved up. Like, okay, so you know, you sort of give yourself a priority list. So the first thing I bought was the light box, because I used it for every commission and I needed it, and the coffee table just wasn't as good as using a proper light box, especially if you wanted to do like big A2, A3 pieces of work. My coffee table wasn't that big. So so to me that was my priority thing. So that was the first thing I bought when I could. And then like the next thing, you know, a surface. A better surface than just your lap. And then you sort of go from there, and you sort of learn what you need, because I think every artist, you know, even though color pencil artists sort of seem to have the same equipment, we do sort of use them differently, and we don't always use the same equipment the same way as well. So I think it really just depends on your process and how you use it and what you use, and also your business. Like I think if you want to, I guess, do less pet portraits and more like original artwork, you might not need, I guess, certain things. Then, yeah, so I think it's just about getting things when you need it, saving up for it, having a little priority tick box list. But now that I'm like 5 years on, I feel like I've got everything I need. Yeah, so just more pencils. You can never have enough pencils. Maybe some more pencil drawers, but that's about it.
That's good to know that there's an end. I'm sort of like in the stage where I'm like, oh, I need to get this, but this would also help a lot with time and like reducing the amount of time you spend like doing things. And yeah, it's almost like it's at a never ending point. I'm like, well, I don't want to obviously overspend like all this money because I'm just going to need it to pay my rent. But yeah, it's nice to know that they get to a point where you're like, you know what, everything I need is right here. The stock report.
Yeah. Well, it's a business investment, isn't it? You're investing in your business. You're buying something. It's not like, you know, a new dress or something. You're buying a camera holder to hold your camera so you can do better videos and better content to then improve your business. So everything you buy is an investment in your business. So you have to think about it that way. It's not like a nice to have kind of thing. Like, it does have its priority and it does have its need. So you do need to put that first. But also be smart about it, like, because you can do things until you can afford to get the things, like buying single pencils until you can afford to buy the whole set. Like, it's not necessary, but it's nice to have sometimes. I think I took 2 years to save up to buy the full Caran d'Ache Luminance set, and that was the first full set I ever bought, and I was just so excited to have this set. And it's a really good feeling as well, because you've made that money yourself, you've built this business, and now you can afford these nice, I guess, fancier things. But it also improves your business. Like, I've never needed to buy the set again, and it's still like 3 years later, I'm still using it, and you know, I just replace a pencil here and there if I need it. Like, a lot of things you buy, especially if you buy quality, you only need to buy once.
Yeah.
So it's not wasted money. You just have to sort of prioritize it a bit. Like, what do you need first, then second, and, you know, make sure you've got enough money for your rent and your bills as well in between.
I think that's what I'm doing at the moment, especially because, like, I am only 21 and I do own a house, and I have to pay all my bills. And that has been, like, it's only been since last year, since losing my mum, that I've had to sort of do all of that and become like a full adult. So I think working out your finances is really important, and especially like tattoo apprenticeships don't pay. So no matter how bad I would want to do one, it's not at the moment like financially able, because I do have bills and all to pay. So I think doing social media and things was just like a different route into it. I will still have to do an apprenticeship at some point if I want to become a tattoo artist, but social media especially has given me different options of how I can make money doing what I love and creating, but in like a sensible way, if that makes sense. So like, I can save at the moment on because especially like when my mum passed, I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to just, I don't know, be stuck like working all the time and just to like pay things and whatnot. But then I thought, like, if I really want to do it, like you said, you don't need to go out and buy loads of different stuff. You can literally start doing it. And then that is what has like helped with my social media especially, is I literally just started creating stuff. Like, I stopped excusing it and just started, and then all of these different opportunities has come, which is sort of just given like a different route, which is quite nice. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, really good. Oh, so I'll ask one more question. So, to people trying to build their studios, what advice would you give them? Like, I guess we just talked about priority equipment and things like that. So, you know, what advice would you say someone just starting to build their art studio?
So I guess I can bring in some advice from my interior design days as well into this one. Focus on sort of like the activities that you're wanting to do. So whether you're doing like pottery or digital art or traditional like painting or color drawing, whatever the activity is that you're doing, give yourself a designated space to do that, whether it's like me on your sofa or if you've got a desk somewhere to do it. And then just arrange all of the items that you use most often sort of like around you. So if you're going to be doing a lot of printing, you know, have your printer close to hand, start getting some good papers and things like that, and just sort of build up from the very, very basics of like what you're using. So for me, if it's paper and pencil, all I needed was a table, somewhere to draw, somewhere with good light. So I put my table right next to the window so that I've got like the daylight there as well. And then like for my pencils and my paper, just when I can afford them and actually start getting things out there, then replace them with like better equipment. And yeah, just keep a record of everything that you've got, because it's really nice as well, like when you're a couple of months down the line or even a year down the line, for you to look back and be like, you know what, I've come a really long way, like since I've started.
Definitely.
Because you will progress, like as much as you keep working at it, if you really, really want to do it. And I was talking to this really lovely girl just last week, actually, that I delivered a portrait to her family. She was about 12, 13, and she was like showing me her sketchbook and like all of her drawings in it. And she was like, oh, I'd really, really love to do like art like you one day. And I was like, you will get there. Like if you love doing it and you are passionate about this, just keep going. Like don't ever look at your work and think I'm not good enough, because you are. And you'll always like progress, like in terms of your studio space and stuff like that. Just build it up as you go, get things as you need them, and just make sure that you've got a good space that you're happy to be in, like whether it's by a window or in like a shed, like if you really want to work like there, or like with your pottery, whether it's in your garden, just be somewhere that makes you happy. And that's sort of like where I would begin, really.
Perfect. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I completely agree. I think if you're looking to start out, try not to like think of the big picture as in like the possibilities and where you do want to go. Because it's always good to have goals, but I think also keep it simple. Starting out, don't overcomplicate things, because I think in the beginning, especially with me, like I have a lot of other sort of issues that I deal with. So art especially was partly an escape, but also partly sort of stressful. So it was sometimes sort of looking at it in this negative thing, where if you just like not complicate things and literally just draw and just create, like you said, if you want to do pottery, if you want to paint, whatever, just like do it and don't put so much pressure on yourself to create something perfect straight away, because you will progress and you'll learn things. And I think sort of find people that you're inspired by, especially in school. They always teach you to sort of look at different artists and find out what you like from them, and then that will help you with sort of your own style and how you like to create, because everybody is different. And I think just, yeah, with the studio space, just keep it simple, and then as you progress, then you can sort of start adding different bits and, like you said, different equipment and whatever. But I think especially just keep it comfortable, keep it homely almost, because you are spending a lot of time there, so you want it a comfortable space. But yeah, I think that's it really.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you guys. It's been like, I feel like I could talk for hours and hours with you guys. I'll have to get you back on. But yeah, so to conclude, this chat was about artist studios, talking with Alison and Ellie about their studios. And tomorrow we're going to talk about getting noticed and getting yourself out there. So don't miss that live chat. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.